You're now watching This AFC South Show, brought to you by Curtis Podcast Network, hosted by Curtis Brown, Blake Bellamy, Isaiah Michele, and Jeff Steckel. Hello, everybody, and welcome to This AFC South Show number 81 here on Curtis's Podcast Network. I'm your host, Curtis Brown. With me, as always, Isaiah Michele, our Jags fan, our Titans guy, and our Colts guy. Our out of town, essentially. Jeff's going to work. It's our Colts guy, and Blake is ironing out the details, hopefully, on a new house. So, get that money, Jeff, and get that house, boy. So, yeah, let's get into it. Before we dive on in, still in the hunt for 1,000 subscribers. We're at 133 right now, so that means we need 167 more, or 867 more to hit our goal of 1,000. 22 like goal on this episode, so be a part of that. Let's make that happen. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new content. Now let's get into it. We'll lead off with the Colts, who are in a bye week. And it seems as though a former number one receiver for the Colts is now signing with the Cowboys. T.Y. Hilton is now a Cowboy. I mean, it's the bye week. They didn't really have a lot of noise. Wasn't anything crazy going on. But that T.Y. signing, that's pretty interesting. I'm not going to lie. That's a veteran player who, thrived in Indianapolis, and it's gonna be really weird to see him in Dallas Cowboys colors.
I think the fact we have to see any players in Dallas Cowboys colors is just a shame.
Actually, I think you're right. It's just don't play for Dallas.
Don't.
Okay. So the Colts will be coming back and playing Minnesota. So that should be an interesting game. Minnesota looked pretty porous against the Detroit Lions, and the Colts looked abysmal against the Dallas Cowboys.
Another L incoming.
Not a lot to talk about with them. But with the Dallas Cowboys mentioned, let's segue into the Texans and the Colts. The in-state rivalry, the Governor's Cup, the sixth meeting all time between these two franchises in the regular season. Dallas now leads 4-2. This was in the preview. I told you if Houston was going to win this game, they needed to be focusing on Dameon Pierce and basically being a whole new team. And with the effort and the general vibe of that game, that was a whole new team. For anybody who didn't watch that game, Houston was in control of that game for a good portion of it and really kept Dallas guessing. Jeff Driscoll came in and worked as a tandem quarterback system with Davis Mills. When we were talking about it before the show, that was very college-like. Of course, Jeff Driscoll's pretty mobile and threw a touchdown, had a pretty solid pass to Amari Rodgers in his first heavy game usage. So Dameon Pierce had a pretty solid game. 75 yards, a touchdown, a fumble. He left early with an ankle injury. And it would have been huge later in the game to have him, especially I think it was in the fourth quarter we got a first down and goal at the 5 after an interception of Dak Prescott and couldn't do anything with it. And if we would have scored there, the game was over. But we didn't. Dallas Cowboys get the ball and do what they do and drive down the field with 40 seconds left, punching it in the end zone with Zeke on, I believe, fourth down. So it's it was one of those games where it's like, hey, it's good to see my team playing well. Maybe they can get this dub. And then the closer it got, you're like, oh God, they're going to do it. They have a shot. Nope. Draft talk, baby. That's where we're at. The team played well, but they're 1-11-1. Make a wish. So the season's been frustrating to say the least. A lot of people want to see Lovie Smith gone. More people want to see Pep Hamilton gone. Some people are starting to say that Caserio should go. And to all of those people, I want you to listen very carefully here. That is a terrible idea. If you want a team to grow and to do better, at the very least, to figure out if you have a good coach, a good GM, you need time. You need to give them time to do what they're doing. John Robinson, the Titans GM, was fired after 7 years on the job. And he did some really good things. Towards the end there, he did some really bad things. And like anybody in business, you should get fired when you do bad things. But if your team is balls, and the only thing you're doing is trying to get draft picks, which is what I believe Caserio is doing, then I think we're nailing it. I mean, we're really hitting the hammer flush on the head of the nail, and we're nailing it. With that, I'll open it up to you, Isaiah.
Definitely hurt that Dameon Pierce wasn't there. Always sucks to see a Florida guy go down, or any guy. To all those haters out there, besides the Pep Hamilton haters, who cares? Yeah, definitely got to give them some time. Wouldn't be entirely upset for the Texans if they got a new offensive coordinator next year. But definitely need to give Lovey and Caserio a little bit more time there. Can't just, kick them and can them after 1 year together. Because Lovie Smith is not Urban Meyer. And as long as they are not Urban Meyer, basically, I believe they deserve at least a second chance. Not to mention, Lovie Smith was kind of thrown into a dumpster fire and expected to put it all out at one time.
Yeah.
I mean, the game itself was definitely closer than I expected it to be, especially after the Cowboys, straight blew out the team the week before. Shout out Colts. Wasn't it the Colts? Yeah, it was the Colts. And I kind of expected them to do the same to us, but after how we played and then, how the Texans played them and everything, I think that we can potentially get close, if not beat them. We have a fairly comparable defense to the Texans. We started out strong and then it's just been kind of downhill, but luckily we picked it up. I expected it to be a lot further out of a game. Of course, it's really hard to scheme for a 2-quarterback system when you've only seen them have one quarterback and then another quarterback, and then you bring back the one, and then you add in a quarterback that hasn't played in 4 years. It kind of throws it off a little bit. So it definitely could have been something working against them. But again, like you mentioned pre-show, no sacks from the Cowboys. So I believe the league in sacks, or if not, their top 3. Yeah. That was big, especially with Micah Parsons on the other side of the line. It's really hard to stop him in any capacity. It shows that the Cowboys can be beat, and they do have weaknesses. Just gotta go through and exploit them. But unfortunately, they couldn't get it done this time. But I think if they had Dameon Pierce, they probably punch in that one on the 5. And you don't have Rex Burkhead touching the ball. I think you win that game.
Yep. We caused 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, a fumble on special teams after the opening drive, and we capitalized on all of those for 17 points. Which is the most capitalizing off turnovers we've done all season. And that was good to see. Usually we get turnovers and then just give the ball back. It's very seldomly that we actually get any meaningful points. But Chris Moore, who was usually the 3rd receiver on the depth chart, had 10 receptions for 120 yards and an absolute stud performance. Davis Mills didn't have Brandon Cooks or Nico Collins. So I don't think anybody was really trying to respect the wide receivers that the Houston Texans had. And I think that kind of opened some things up for Davis Mills, who did have his highest rated game. His quarterback rating was like an 89 point something, but the passer rating was like 89 point something. And then his QBR is 84.9. Which is stupid high because it's out of 100. And definitely his highest output all season. 175 yards through the air, 11 of 17, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty solid performance. Tremon Smith had 2 interceptions, one off of deflection, one he just read Dak Prescott like a book. And those put us into very favorable positions to score. One of those being that inside the 5 in the fourth quarter that we couldn't capitalize on. I mean, I can't talk about this. The run defense today or against the Cowboys was phenomenal. Zeke Elliott had 15 carries for like 62 yards and a touchdown. That's nothing. I will take that every day of the week. I don't know what the hell happened, but I guess maybe the right combination of people came back from injury, and now we're not just allowing everybody and their mother to run all over us. It's nice to see. I at least want to see over these final 4 games this level of effort, and this gives me confidence going forward. But with that, let's get into the only game where an AFC South team won. And it was done by the best quarterback in the AFC South. The Jacksonville Jaguars traveled to Nashville, Tennessee. Was that Sunday, December 11th? And absolutely decimated the Titans in their own stadium. At one point, if I'm not mistaken, it was 36-7, 14 maybe?
36-14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy shellacking right there. It wasn't until later on that the Titans got it closer. And the final score ended up being 36-22. Still a 14-point spread there, and the Jags never lost control of that game once they got control of it. And it was just up and down in the field, a dominating performance by the Jacksonville Jaguars. 4 sacks, like 9 QB hits, 1 interception and 2 fumbles. That's the turnovers you were talking about in the pregame, all of that. I mean, that's one hell of a performance. Take it away.
William Trevor Timothy Lawrence. He has arrived, and I said that before, and I will continue to say that. The Lions game, I mean, he completed 17 out of 30 something and had 7 drops. I mean, if he completes half of those, he's good. Yeah. But people are saying he's inconsistent. That's fine. You can say what you want. One of the people who said he was inconsistent just got 4 touchdowns dropped on his head by Mr. Lawrence himself. 82.2 QBR, 121.9 rating, 30 for 42, 368 career high, 8.8 yards per average per pass, 3 touchdowns through the air, and the one that people seem to keep forgetting is the 4th touchdown on the ground, where he absolutely stiff-armed Mr. Cole, who ended up he stiff-armed him so hard he sent him to therapy.
Yep.
Travis Etienne didn't have a great day. I mean, we kind of knew that was going to happen, though. The Titans are a very run-stuffing heavy team. I believe they're the best run-stuffing defense in the league. Yep. And, Evan Ingram had a fucking day. Evan Ingram had the single greatest performance by a Jacksonville tight end that we've ever had, which is kind of crazy to say. I mean, he didn't have 3 touchdowns like Mercedes Lewis did, but he had 162 yards. It's the most ever by a tight end for Jacksonville. 11 receptions, which is probably up there, if not the most. And then 2 touchdowns, one of which was an amazing juggling, or not even juggling, just a great snag on the sideline. Trevor maybe could have got a little bit higher, but realistically, I mean, it was a perfect pass. Zay Jones dropped a couple. But I mean, Zay Jones kind of showed why you don't go away from one of your workhorses just because they drop a few. Because he ended up coming back, having a huge play later in the game with that catch off of a tip, which honestly should have been intercepted. But the Titans didn't want to do it. They didn't want to pick off Trevor Lawrence and ruin his perfect streak not throwing a pick. So shout out to the Titans secondary for that. I mean, Zay Jones, if he got a blade of grass, it might have been 2. It was probably only 1 between his foot and the sideline. It was kind of crazy that they actually overturned that and kept it in.
Yeah.
I mean, we had 2 players with 1 reception each, and Chris Manhertz had 21 yards on 1 reception, and Marvin Jones had 22 yards on 1 reception. I mean, everyone else, Jamal Agnew had a pretty decent day. Christian Kirk had an okay day. Zay Jones and Evan Ingram really did it for us, though. I mean, of course, the 1 fumble you can't blame. They put it on Henry. You can't blame Henry for a bad snap on a trick play. They tried to do a direct shotgun, little fancy princess play, and it didn't work out. We ended up getting the ball. Foye Oluokun, again, has a great week. I think the last 3 weeks, he has a total of like 40 something tackles in the last 3 weeks alone, which is crazy. If not close to 50. Trayvon Walker had his best game as a pro, graded out of the 91.6 rating, had a strip sack for that actually turned around into 7 points. We scored 21 points off of turnovers this game. Our fourth string middle linebacker absolutely sunned Derrick Henry on the sideline.
Quarterman.
Mr. Shaq Quarterman, Jacksonville local, Jacksonville legend now after that one. Josh Allen was just in the right place at the right time, and it just fell right into his beautiful big hands. Even he had a sack, surprisingly.
Ending an 8-game drought, if I'm not mistaken.
8-game drought, yes, sir. Josh Allen had a sack and a tackle for loss and 2 QB hits. Daniel Thomas came in and played. Wingard got hurt, and Wingard got back in, and Wingard did Wingard things. I was trying to get rid of Wingard. I always try and get rid of Wingard. But he has proven to be a very serviceable backup that can really actually come in and make a difference when needed. We definitely missed Andre Cisco. That's a big loss. He's probably our best defensive player. But we actually, we fielded a lot of players this game. Tyson Campbell had 3 targets, which equaled out to 3 pass breakups. Ty Summers was activated off the practice squad. He had a penalty that kind of hurt us, but he still got a tackle. Folaronso Fatukasi got a sack, which was kind of weird. The big man got himself a sack. It was just a big day. Like you said, 4 sacks. We had 9 QB hits. It's just a big day. Interception. Andrew Wingard was just hiding in the crease, and Tannehill, I don't know if he wanted to take the blame for that one, but he had a player running a slant. He threw it like he was running a comeback. Behind him, it didn't make any sense, but we capitalized on that. It was just a big day. Jacksonville had a positive turnover differential from much of the early part of the season. Actually, with this performance as well, we are now completely even on point differential. So we have just as many points scored as scored against. Should have been positive, but Tennessee got a garbage time touchdown and extra 2-point conversion. But yeah, it was just overall a great game out of Jacksonville. It should show we don't have to have a perfect game out of our defense to win. Trevor Lawrence and that offense continues to put points on the board in bunches, and that's without a number 1 wide receiver. We'll see how next year it looks. I'm hoping we can re-sign Evan Ingram on like a 2 or 3 year deal. And then having Calvin Ridley next year, we're looking up to good things. I'm sure we're going to have some offensive overload in the draft. Probably still pick a couple defensive guys, but nothing too crazy. Trayvon Walker was actually rushing out of a 3-point a little bit more, so that helped too, having him do that, but he was still dropped into coverage like normal. But yeah, just a good all-around day for Jacksonville, and we're officially in the hunt. And I don't know if we'll actually get in there, but I know that the Titans are not gonna take us lightly in Week 18. And we're at home, so that bodes well for us that we won the one in Tennessee. We could potentially be looking at Jacksonville in the playoffs over Tennessee if we can get that Week 18 win, and we can kind of shape up some other stuff here late in the season.
Trying to think about it. So Jacksonville plays Dallas next.
Yep.
Tennessee plays the Chargers.
Yep.
Who are both 7-6. Both the Chargers are fighting for their playoff lives.
It's a must-win for the Chargers.
Yeah. And then I think the Titans play Dallas. And then and then the Titans play...
Yeah, the Titans have a rough rest of their schedule.
Yeah, they play Tennessee, or the Titans play Houston.
Yep.
The Saturday on Christmas Eve.
Jacksonville plays the Jets.
Yep, on the 22nd. Yep, and then the next Thursday game. So this is the next 4 games in the AFC South. On the 22nd, it's Jacksonville, New York. That's a Thursday night game. Saturday night, Houston travels to Tennessee. Monday night, Los Angeles and Indy. The next Thursday night, Dallas and Tennessee. That's rough.
We still have to play you guys again, too. We get you guys in Jacksonville.
Yep.
What, week 17 or 16?
We beat you guys in Jacksonville last time.
Oh, I didn't know it was in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Yeah, that was in Jacksonville. So this next one will be in Houston.
Whatever. Jags by 50.
Probably. I mean, if they come out and do that kind of performance, I mean, yeah, no matter what kind of effort the Texans have, they're just not going to be enough. But let me speak on Tennessee's game for a little bit, just for Blake. He didn't give me any notes, but I think I know what he's going to say. Dennis Daly's a bum. Doesn't need to be on the team. He is worse than a revolving door in a hotel. This
You
man,
want Matt Pryor? Sorry, I had to throw the Jeff comment in there.
Thank you. You guys want Matt Pryor? I'm pretty sure the Titans at this point would probably take Matt Pryor. I'm pretty sure that fans would be like, "Yeah, this is the new guy. Yeah, thank God," and know every inch of his stats. Dennis Daly's not the dude. I don't know if he keeps playing because the options are so limited that he's actually the best possible left tackle right now. But if they want a feasible chance to win this division, they're going to have to figure something else out. And do it pretty quickly. No Traylon Burks today. So that kind of really hurt the Titans' passing game. Robert Woods, at this stage in his career, is definitely a 2 and not a 1. Chigakonkwo had his effective coming out party. 6 receptions, 85 yards. I don't remember if he got a touchdown or not, but
He did. He got a touchdown earlier in the game.
and a touchdown. So yeah, his definite coming out performance. Blake's been wanting that to happen a lot. I mean, any Titans fan that's seen him this season, I mean, the guy is, good for at least one catch of 30 plus yards.
He's massive.
And he's fast and just generally an impressive athlete. But, man, seeing this patchwork offensive line and Ryan Tannehill just getting obliterated like it's Mike White's birthday or something is just, it makes me feel good. Not gonna lie. I mean, I'm not a Titans fan, so it doesn't really bother me that much. But as a Texans fan, it gives me hope in that last game of the year, or the last game on the not even the last game. Our last game.
We played in the last game of the year.
Yeah, our last game against the Titans. Gives me a little bit of hope. And I think at this point, that's all you really want, even if it's going into next season. And I was just thinking about this with the Jaguars having Calvin Ridley in the wings, just waiting. He's not even really coming off an injury; he's just suspended. I mean, I don't know of another team who's got something that proven and that surefire waiting for them, like in the offseason.
Oh yeah, that's detrimental to the AFC South, as a whole for the rest of the teams. Yeah, that's wild. It's still weird to me that that's a real thing.
Yeah.
The freaking balls on Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke. People want Trent Baalke fired. I don't. We now have one more win this season alone than we've had in the past 2 seasons combined. Some of his picks haven't exactly panned out, but I mean, a lot of them have. Evan Ingram, talk about signings, Sandre Cisco, all these guys. I mean,
Yeah. He
a lot of haters
he drafted
out there.
Lawrence, right?
I mean, yeah, but you can't give him credit for Trevor Lawrence. You're literally giving him credit for not fucking up the most surefire pick of that draft.
I mean, yeah, but people do that.
I get that, but no one who had the first overall pick was not drafting Lawrence.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Because no team that has an established quarterback that would be considered better than Lawrence, none of them would have had that pick. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Even
the Texans would have picked Lawrence. They'd never pick a quarterback in the top,
We've done it twice.
Yeah.
David Carr in 2002. And then
Good old David Carr.
And then good old massage table himself.
Yes, sir. Mr. Massage Table himself.
Who is still playing like shit for Cleveland right now.
Garbage.
So I really hope that continues, and that means that Houston will have 2 really good picks. Houston could win a couple games here and still be in no danger of losing the first round draft pick.
No wonder the Ravens don't want to pay Lamar Jackson.
Right.
He's supposed to be quarterback, got all this guaranteed money, and now they're fucking terrible. So.
Yep. and they're in division, so it's like you get to see that front and center. Do you have an MVP of the week? Week 14.
You didn't have to ask.
T-Law.
T-Law.
Yep. I'm gonna do 2 this week because Chris Moore is never gonna get any love from anybody long term. We're gonna have co-MVPs. Okay. we can do Lawrence first if that makes you feel any better. But so Trevor Lawrence, hit us with his stat line one more time if you got that in front of you.
30 for 42, 368, 3 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground.
Yep, pretty solid outing. Chris Moore, 10 receptions, 120 yards, and it was playing and just flying all over the field. The first 100-yard receiving game for a Houston Texan since last season. And that was Brandon Cooks, I think, in the final week of the year. So I don't know. Chris Moore's like 30 years old, so it's not like he's like the future to build around or anything. But a pretty solid outing, and hopefully we can build on it. Co-MVPs, Trevor Lawrence, Chris Moore for Houston. And with that, I think we're getting pretty close to done here. Do you have any final comments?
Fuck the Titans.
All right, fair enough. Well, folks, thanks for watching. Go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button and the notifications bell so you don't miss anything. Still trying to hit 22 likes. Still trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. Trying to make money. Trying to get paid to do this. If you like the new setup on the podcast, hit a like and be good people.